we'll just do a quick sound check. You hear me all right?
You're good.
All right.
Yeah, sounds good.
Well, good. Well, welcome, everyone. I'm Jason Bonney from the Simplot Games Board of Directors. Happy to welcome you to this breakout session. We've got Willie Banks here to talk about secrets to horizontal jump improvements. This is the first of 3 breakout sessions with Willie. We'll be back again at 12:33, and then at 1:20 p.m. That will be that's Mountain Time. We'll have a Q&A session. We will be collecting questions for that Q&A session. We'll answer those then. So you can find that space button there at the bottom of your screen. You're welcome to chat those questions, and we'll save those for Willie. So I don't want to hold off any longer. We'll turn the time to you, Willie.
Thank you very much, Jason. I really appreciate it. And since this is a small group, we can be a little bit more personal. So if, we'll go along, and I'll try and make this as clear and concise as possible. I do have a presentation, but, I'm not sure whether we can or not, but we may want to just, add your, if you will add your questions now, perhaps I can incorporate it as we go along. And is that in the chat that we're going to be speaking, or how does that work? Right now, I've got everyone in the chat here on the right-hand side. So I guess we'll do it like that. Throw it in the chat and I'll get to it. So let me bring up my presentation. Oops, got to share my screen here. Sorry about that. All right. So here we go. Hopefully everyone can hear me still. So let me just go to the next one here. One of the things I always like to do is remind everyone of how incredible the horizontal events are. So you have Jonathan Edwards, who has jumped 60 feet, which when I was jumping many years ago, that was an incredible feat. And it still is an incredible feat as athletes get closer and closer. And you'll note that the women have taken as long in the triple jump to overcome the world record in their event as well. At 1550, Inessa Kravitz was an incredible athlete. It still is an incredible athlete. And if you look at the world long jump records, they're pretty incredible as well. I mean, one of them is from 1988. Galina was amazing, especially when you look at some of the other athletes that were jumping about the same time as Galina. In fact, Jackie Joyner, who has an Olympic record, you would think that she would be the world record holder, but as you can see, this is a pretty amazing 2 people. Mike Powell was my training partner, and he set the world record in 91. And all of you have probably seen that great video on YouTube. The important thing here, though, is to understand that these 2 events have had long-standing world records. In fact, Mike's world record is going to celebrate the 30th anniversary at Mount Sac. We're going to have a big event for him in late August. So be looking for that. 30 years of having a world record is pretty astounding. Now, I usually have a lot longer presentation on the horizontal jumps, but since we don't have a whole lot of time, I'm going to stick to just some key points that you should know. Now, all of you probably have a baseline of knowledge on the long jump and the triple jump, probably more knowledge on the long jump than the triple jump, because the triple jump is not a basic event. It's kind of esoteric in a way, but it is an event that requires a lot of technical expertise. So if it sounds like I'm spending a lot more time on the triple jump, there's probably 2 reasons. One is that it is so technical. And the second reason is that I know more about it than the long jump. I have been coaching both long triple and high jump for many, many years and learned so many things. But if I just really am honest with myself, the triple jump being my baby has been, I have a lot more knowledge in that than the others. So as it says, goal oriented, I think everything should be goal oriented. And therefore, all my athletes and any coaches that I have worked with, I have tried to create an atmosphere where the coaches, well, they work more towards goals than they do the improvement of the event. So in other words, rather than thinking, oh, well, you've got to jump 25 feet or you've got to jump 20 feet as a high schooler, you you want to focus more on how to improve their technique, their strength, and their speed and their agility. Those things will lead to the improvements in performance. And so what I've done is I've created a graph here that if you work on certain areas, I know that your performance under in this test will equal improvements and your better performances on the field when you get ready, when your athlete gets ready to jump. Now, if you look at this long jump chart here, what I've done is I've actually taken this from a Japanese study that I was involved with at Chukyo University. And what they did was they took several, as you can see on the left-hand side, several different lifting, running, jumping, and agility challenges. And they've created a chart where if you are, generally speaking, able to perform the results across from the activity that you'll see along this chart, you should be able to jump the distance that is located on the top line across from the words long jump. So if you can do the snatch at 43.3 kilos, and you can translate this into pounds if you want, but if you can clean 55.5 kilos, you can bench 41.2 kilos, and so forth, you should be able to jump 6 meters. The correlation is there in our study. And the same is true as you go along. The stronger, the faster, the more agile you are, of course, the better you're going to do. And I use this chart with my athletes. And I believe it's important for you to use, if not this chart, something similar where your athletes don't just want to jump all the time, because that doesn't make a lot of sense. What you want them to do is think that they have to train. So you train for performance. In fact, in the triple jump especially, I never jumped in practice, at least a full triple jump. And I believe that that's important in the triple jump because it's such it's an event that puts a lot of stress on the body. And working on the different parts of the triple jump is much better. Now, long jump may be different, but most of you probably operate on the same performance goals that I do. And rather than having your athlete do full runs, you'll have them start with a short run, maybe 6 strides, and move it out slowly until you get to a longer run. And so generally speaking, you're doing the same thing. You're not really doing a full long jump until you really are in a competition situation. So one of the things I want to point out, because if you've taken a picture of this, or if you're writing something down, you'll see that this thing, 30-meter bound time plus steps. So the result of 1588 is adding the time that it takes the athlete to go 30 meters bounding from right, left, right, left, right. Okay. And then you add how many bounds. So if there's 10 bounds and it took them 5.88 seconds, then it would be 15.88 would be the result. And you want that number to decrease because you want the length of the bound to increase, but also the time it takes should decrease as well because the athlete is faster and stronger. When you see CS in here, 30-meter CS, that's crouching start, and that's by seconds. So a 30-meter crouching start, a 60-meter crouching start, a 150-meter crouching start time, and then a 30-meter RS is running start. So taking all of this into consideration, the whole idea of this is not so much for you to get the result here, but more for the athletes to focus on these results so that their strength, their speed, and their agility increases. And same thing with the triple jump. You can see a similar chart in the triple jump here, and you can see how it all works out. Is this in the way? Can you see my? There's something covering this chart. Anyone? Okay.
Good.
Good. All right. So one of the things that I notice about horizontal jumpers is when they're jumping at the board for both jumps, for both the long and the triple, and the hop, step, and jump in the triple jump, people don't understand, I mean, at least young people don't understand that it's all about a flat surface, the flat foot, and being able to utilize the flat foot so that you can engage the proper muscles, at least the big muscle groups that are necessary in order for you to go far. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So a flat foot is really all about hitting just like this, boom, so that when you hit, you start engaging your glutes, your quads, and the stronger muscles of your leg. When you land on the ball of your foot or try and jump on the ball of your foot, you only engage your gastrocs and your psoas muscle down at the bottom of your legs. So you really want to try and focus on that flat foot with your athlete. If you land on your heel, you lose almost everything. It's just a stopping motion. You engage your quads and that's about it. So what you want to do is get your athletes focused on getting on top of your foot, bringing it down in a flat activity. And I'm going to show you that in a little bit of a video. We'll come back here in a second. Now, I showed this video once. Hopefully it works. And someone went online, they saw it, and they sent me something, said, you owe me, 4.5 seconds of my life back because they didn't see the importance of this. I thought it was kind of funny. But the reason why they didn't see the importance of this is because they don't understand how important the flat foot is. But let me just show you this. So that is what a flat foot should be like. It's very difficult to tell sometimes when it looks like I'm hitting my heel or look like I'm hitting the ball of my foot, but that's a flat foot. The middle of my foot is the only thing not touching the ground. The instep is the only thing not touching the ground at the same time. The ball of my foot, my heel, everything is touching at the same time. Let me go back here. So you're going to emphasize the middle of the foot, right? And one way of encouraging your athlete to get on the flat of your foot is to talk about like squishing a bug, with the entire foot, break a board. When you're pushing a skateboard, your foot is on the skate because it gives you that big platform and you're pushing and pushing and pushing. Well, you want to be able to hit the ground flat so that you engage the proper muscle groups to jump bar. Number 2, the run. All right, the run is, as you know, is like crazy important. It makes up probably 80% of the jump. If you get a good run and you have the proper speed, proper body position off the board, everything else just flows through it. So let's just go through this. Now, in both the long and the triple jump, I'm going to say something a little bit controversial for you. There's only 8 real strides in the run. Okay, that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you take off. That's it. Everyone talks about 12 to 20 strides, that an athlete is going to do. And I understand that. And I agree the athlete has to be, back 12 to 20 strides in order to build up enough momentum to jump. But let's break that down. I agree that there are 4 parts to the jump. Okay, let's go over and take a look here. There's the start, and the start is either active or static. There's the power or momentum phase, which is about 8 strides. It could be 4 to 8 strides. We can discuss that. And then there's the rhythm and position phase, which is actually your run. Okay, that's the runway. That's where you're running fast, upright, and driving through. And then the attack phase. The attack phase is just the last 2 to 3 strides of your run. And again, here you'll see the ratios of 50, 25, 25, or meaning your power, the rhythm, and the attack phase. It doesn't include the start. I'm going to talk about the start in a second, but let's go back to the run. So if you take a look at this diagram here, you'll see where the star is. And that's the last stride that's the last step of the buildup or the power phase or the momentum phase. So once your board foot hits this location here, it starts the rhythm or the technical run, the actual run. So you hit that. The light blue is 1. And then dark is 2. And then so forth. Let me see if I can. So let me see if I can mark this here for a second. This would be 1. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is your 8. And this is the board. Oh, that's not good, but that's 8. So that's your board stride. So 8 strides out, you are starting your actual run. And if you think about it like this, your athletes won't focus on the beginning so much of trying to build speed and more to build power. And it reserves the speed aspect for when you really need it. You don't need to be as fast as you have to be until you're on the board. And you don't want to tire yourself out in the beginning so that your speed decreases to the board. So you build up momentum, which is not speed, and then you sprint the last 8 strides and take off at your your highest controlled speed at the board for both the long and the triple jump. Now we're going to get to the attack phase, which is different between the long and the triple jump. But just know that these 8 strides are really where your speed is critical. The other part is not. Now, the Europeans have seen this and have been doing this for a long time. You'll watch some of the Europeans and they look like they're hardly even running in the very beginning. And then the final few strides, they're like, and they take off. Well, that's what it's all about. You don't have to be fast in the beginning. What you have to do is be powerful so that the momentum doesn't stop at the board, so that your momentum carries you through the board. And the speed that you add to the momentum helps you go far. So let's go back to this. You got 4 to 8 strides before your board foot hits the star mark, which is really the coach's mark. That's where the coach's mark should be. And if you can't put something on the runway, a coach should know where that foot should be. A marker in the grass, pulling up something so they know approximately where that foot is going to hit. That way, you don't have to worry about saying, oh, go this way, go that way. You know where that athlete is going to hit. Because trust me, things don't change once you're down to this 8 strides. They don't change significantly, meaning your stride pattern doesn't change significantly. It stays the same. When you're building up, the stride pattern changes significantly. It could change as much as 2 feet over those first 4 to 8 strides. And if you add the takeoff, it just gets really crazy. It can really get out of control. So let me get back to my auto here. So think about this way. You want to get long, strong strides, or any type of stride that is actually pushing backwards and building up. Once you get to the board foot marker, then the athlete is just running. They got their legs underneath them and they are running like they're running at 100 meters, but only controlled. And once they hit the board, then we'll talk about the attack phase. I think we're going to move on though. So at the board, it's all about body position, not foot position. And this is a little bit frustrating for me because I always hear coaches say, move it back a little, move it back just that much. Humans are not machines, so we can't just move it back that much and be accurate. It's where your body is. And I can put my foot on the board and be 8 feet back, or I can put my foot on the board and be 5 feet back, 3 feet back. It doesn't matter. I can put my foot on the board. That's easy. It's where your body is positioned so that when your foot hits the board, you're either jumping up or you're pushing through the board. Jumping up, that's a long jump. Pushing through, that's the triple jump. And we'll come to that in a second. So let's take the takeoff in the long jump. Now, everyone talks about the penultimate stride. And all of you coaches are probably aware that the penultimate stride just simply means the stride before the last. And basically what you're trying to do with the penultimate stride is to lower your hips so that you're in a better position to jump up and out. It's not like a high jump where your penultimate stride really shifts your hips way up so that you can jump up. It's more shifting your hips slightly up so that you're not going straight, so that you get some lift and put your body into the position that enables you to jump up. And in this particular situation, some people call it a push-pull plant or a flat push flat foot. But generally speaking, what you want to do is you want your athlete to push towards the board and then push up on the board foot. So that way they get lift off the board and they're able to generate the speed from the run and get a better result. And this is very much different from the triple jump, right? The triple jump is about getting your body as close to the board without fouling past the board and push off, driving the thigh forward. So when I was jumping, I had to change feet on the long and the triple because it's just different. It's really different. So I jumped long jump with my long off the long jump leg, and I started the triple jump with my my right leg, and that way I didn't get confused. And maybe I'm a simpleton or something, but I didn't get confused. I was able to come off that board because I would be a lot closer to the board with my body position and just push off than when I was in the long jump where I had to be slightly back from the board so that when I push pull and I just push up, I can jump up and out. Let's take a look at some of this action here. Let me see. I'm talking arm action. Well, I'm going to stick a needle in the takeoff for just a second and stick a pin in that and go to the arm action because this is an important piece that a lot of coaches don't coach. And I want to just tell you how important it is. I've seen so many high school athletes just destroy their jump because they don't know what to do with their arms, especially in the triple, but also in the long jump. Now, the arm action is very, very critical because the arms and the legs have to be timed up. So it's an agility exercise. And the quicker and better you can get your arms in position, the easier it is for you to get up and maintain a vertical position in your body as you go through your jump so that when you land, you're able to land properly and not fall back in the pit. Oftentimes I see a lot of athletes, they try and get into position with their arms and their arms throw them forward and they hit the pit and then they fall forward. Almost like they could have gotten a lot more distance had they been able to maintain their body position in the vertical position. So the arm position in the long jump, you want to try to, and I wish we were in together, but since we aren't, you're going to see this. The arm position should go straight up, and those of you who hang will be hanging, and others will rotate the arms with the legs as counter balances to your legs when you're doing a hitch kick or a bicycle, whatever you want to call it. So the long jump is all about blocking with your shoulders and your arms. And the block should also be with the off arm. The drive arm should, of course, block in front of your face. The shoulders should shrug. And the tricep on the off arm, the swing arm back, should block with the lead arm. And that creates braking forces, which allows you to get up off the ground. Then the next phase is really important. You don't just leave them here and fall into the pit. You block and then you raise your arms up. And that keeps you from going forward too quickly. It counters the force off of the board and allows you to bring your hips back into position vertically so that you can prepare your body to go into the pit. So that's very critical. And in the triple jump, this is a long one here, but basically in the triple jump, you've got several ways you can go off the board. Now, I am a major fan of the single arm action in the triple jump for the triple jump when you're going off the board. There's other ways of doing it. There's the there's a double arm off the board, and we see that a lot now. And it's sort of it's sort of frustrating for me, because I believe the double arm action causes young people a lot of problems. They don't understand it. They just see it being done by a Christian or some of the other athletes that they see on YouTube, and then they say that's the way to do it. Nope. That may be good for a professional athlete who has the kind of speed and strength that Christian has, but it's not necessarily the best for, say, a young athlete who's just getting started in the triple jump and they want to do it. I actually think the single arm is a much better way of doing it, because it is your running style, and you're supposed to run off the board. You're not supposed to stop at the board, gather, and jump. Triple jump is not about jumping off the board. It's about pushing off the board. And so you have to maintain your running action to push off the board. So you coaches should understand pushing off the board is different than jumping off the board. And that's something you should really drill into your athletes. Now, when I say triple jump, there's also two more opportunities that you need to do for your athlete. You have to teach them how to go into from a single to a double, or a single, or some mix of that. So you can double. That means both arms throughout your jump. You can single into a pit, or you can single, double into a pit, a mix of arm action. But whatever it is, have them do the drills and do it over and over, so it becomes just natural for them. So when I was younger, I used to spend time just doing the drills in order to improve this. So I'll show you just a couple of drills here. One is just a walking drill, and it's just walk, and then you go off. So the right foot, when the right foot hits down like there, then I go into it. That's the single arm right there, off. And when my arms come together, that's going into actually the second phase. So now I'll just play a video. We don't have a lot of time, but I think these videos are good.
Styles of takeoff: the double arm and the single arm takeoff. In the double arm, which I began with, the object is to be in running position until takeoff, and then to decelerate the opposite arm from the takeoff foot in mid-motion and bring it up and out to mirror the other arm's forward motion. Both arms.
Now, if you can take a look, you see I'm pushing off the board here. This is a push off the board. I just wanted to bring that to your attention, where my body is placed. It's past the board, and that's what you want your athletes to do. And the double arm, as it's explained in the video, you stop one arm and they both come together. So that's one way of doing it. I'm going to go to the next slide here.
Two distinct styles of takeoff: the double arm and the single arm takeoff. In the double arm,
hang on, here we go. This is the
single arm takeoff is similar to the double arm, but the arm moving back does not stop and follow the other arm forward. Rather, the arm moving back continues this path as the lead arm moves up forcefully, accelerating, then quickly freezing to give lift. Before the swing arm finishes its movement back, it begins its movement forward to catch up with the already frozen lead arm. Once both arms are in front, about chin or eye level, the wrist should be turned out and the arms placed behind in preparation for the next phase, just like the double arm.
Now, for those of you, maybe some of you have seen this, but this was not a great jump off the board, because I jumped off the board here in this representation of the single arm. The single arm will give you a lot more force up, because it's a quick move, and your thigh drives up quickly with the arm, and that's more of a push up. But if the body is beyond the board, that gives you the rise and the distance that you're really looking for from your athletes. Let's go to the next one here. All right. Since we don't have a lot of time, I'm just going to do this real quick. So, oops, hang on, go back. Okay.
All right, it looks like we may have lost Willie here for a minute. We're about to head to a break anyway. So we'll get Willie back, and we'll head into this break in just a few seconds.